All right, so you want to learn Ruby. It's a language with a pretty big promise, right? Today, we're going to map out the entire journey from zero to hero using the roadmap from the Odin Project. We're talking from your very first line of code all the way to a project you can actually put in your portfolio. Let's get into it.
And this right here, this is the whole philosophy of Ruby. It's not just about telling a machine what to do. It's about crafting a language that makes you, the programmer, happy. I mean, that's a pretty bold claim, but it really sets the stage for what this learning journey is all about. Okay, programmer happiness sounds great, but what's the actual path to get there? Like, what are the real, concrete steps? That's the million-dollar question, and that's exactly what we're here to answer. We're going to break it all down, step by step, into a roadmap that actually makes sense. So, every great adventure starts with a single step, right? This is that first step. We're going to zoom out and look at the big picture, the entire map of what this journey to mastering Ruby looks like. And here it is, the whole journey boiled down to 4 key stages. First, you just learn the language itself, the nuts and bolts. Then you start building with blueprints, which is a fancy way of saying object-oriented programming. After that, you level up and start thinking like a scientist, all about efficiency. And finally, you learn to work like a pro. See? 4 steps. Let's dive into that first one.
All right, phase 1, forging your foundation. Think of this as gathering all your tools and materials. Before you can build a house, you need to know what a hammer is, what a nail is. That's what we're doing here with the absolute basics of Ruby.
So what's in this starter toolkit? Well, it's exactly what you'd expect. We're talking about the absolute fundamentals. Things like basic data types, variables to hold stuff, and conditional logic to make decisions. Then you get into loops for repetition, and arrays and hashes to organize your data. And finally, methods, which let you package all that logic up. Seriously, these are like the Lego bricks of the entire language.
But, learning all that theory is one thing. The real magic happens when you actually use it. So right away, it's time to put those new skills to the test. And these aren't just random homework problems. Look at this. Each project is designed to test a specific skill you just learned. You build a Caesar cipher to flex your string and logic muscles. You tackle a stock picker to prove you can wrestle with arrays. These are real challenges, tangible milestones that show you, hey, I've got this. I'm ready for what's next.
Okay, so you've got the basics down. You can write code. Now things get really interesting. This next phase is all about a massive shift in thinking. We're moving from just being an apprentice who follows instructions to becoming an architect who designs the whole building.
And this is the secret sauce, object-oriented programming, or OOP. See, before, you were basically just writing a long to-do list for the computer. But with OOP, you start creating blueprints for things, objects that have their own data and can do their own stuff. It's like the difference between writing a single recipe and designing an entire interactive kitchen. And once your brain makes that click, you're not just coding anymore. You're building systems. Suddenly, you can tackle projects like tic-tac-toe or mastermind. These aren't just simple scripts. They're little worlds with parts that all talk to each other. It's a total game changer. And of course, you start picking up some more advanced moves. You learn how to handle files, like saving your Hangman game so you can come back to it later. And you get to master blocks, which are one of Ruby's most powerful and elegant features. You're really starting to fill up that professional toolkit. All right, so at this point, you can build some pretty cool stuff. But what's the difference between someone who codes for fun and someone who's ready for a job? Well, that's what this next part is all about, the professional's toolkit.
Because look, anyone can write code that works for, 10 people. But what happens when you have 10,000? That's when you have to think about efficiency and scale. It's time to put on our computer science hats.
And we start with concepts like time complexity. Now, I know that sounds super scary and academic, but it's actually a pretty simple idea. It's just a way of asking, if my data doubles, does my program take twice as long, or does it take 1,000 times as long? Knowing the answer to that is what separates the pros from the amateurs. And to write that efficient code, you need the right tool for the right job. That's where you learn about essential data structures, things like linked lists, hash maps, and binary search trees. And these aren't just for exams. They're practical ways to structure your data to solve real-world problems fast. It's a crucial skill. So you can write good code, you can write efficient code, but how on earth do huge teams build massive projects together without it all just descending into chaos? without people overwriting each other's work all the time?
Well, the answer is Git. Simple as that. Git is the absolute industry standard for version control. It's basically a time machine for your code. It lets you track every single change, work with a team, and experiment with new ideas without, setting the whole project on fire. If you want to be a pro, mastering Git is not optional.
And then there's this professional habit you'll pick up, test-driven development, or TDD. The idea is kind of backwards, but it's brilliant. You write a test that you know is going to fail, and then you write the code to make it pass. It sounds weird, but it forces you to build software that's way more reliable and easier to maintain in the long run.
So after all that, learning the basics, thinking like an architect, diving into computer science, and adopting professional tools, it all comes together. It culminates in one final project. And this isn't just another assignment. This is the big one, your capstone. It's where you take absolutely everything you've learned, from the simplest variable to the most complex testing practice, and you pour it into one significant portfolio-ready application. This is the thing you get to show off. So there you have it. The entire path is laid out for you. We've gone from the very first steps all the way to a professional milestone. The roadmap from beginner to builder is crystal clear. So the only question left is, are you ready to start building?